This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com.
Well, the next day, there was a TV taping in Atlanta, so you're not done. I just said you wrestled a double shot in 2 major cities and 2 cage matches. The next day, TV taping in Atlanta at WTBS Studios for World Championship Wrestling that aired on February 20th. It was announced on this show that NWA US champ Dusty Rhodes, Ole Anderson, and Lex Luger would face Ric Flair and the tag champions, you and Tully, the following week at the Omni, and that Magnum TA would be in the corner of Dusty Rhodes while J.J. Dillon would be in the corner of the Horsemen. During this show, Arn, the Horsemen defend the tag team championships against Larry Stevens and Tony Suber. And later in the show, you, Tully, and J.J. Dillon are interviewed by David Crockett at the desk promoting this big Omni event. Let's take a listen to it now.
JJ, it looks like that, you know, if Barry and Lex Luger don't get your man in the Omni on the 28th, Dusty Rhodes, The Rock, Ole Anderson, right, and Lex Luger gets it.
You know, I've been sitting back and I've been listening to some of the great news where Dusty Rhodes talked about the feelings that he has walking down the aisle the first time ever in his life, side by side with The Rock, Ole Anderson. I hear the inspirational words of Lex Luger standing out here, always glancing at one side for Barry Windham, always looking to the other side for a Sting or someone to stand there and support him. But I'd like to give all 3 of you that are going to be in the Omni next Sunday night just a little food for thought and come in here, because what I have to say is for you. It wasn't 6 months ago, Lex Luger, that we sat in the snuggery in Chicago on Division Street, and up on the big screen we listened from our private video and we witnessed a scene in a parking lot in Charlotte, North Carolina, when the Horsemen hogtied the American Dream Dusty Rhodes, because that's the only kind of justice that he understands. We hogtied him to make an example of him. And when we took and cracked his hand, Lex Luger, it was you that laughed louder than anyone else. And are you going to tell me that inside you were feeling some other emotion? And I was there at the scene. I was there when it happened. And it was you, Ole Anderson, that welded the bat that cracked the knuckles in the hand of the so-called legend Dusty Rhodes. And I witnessed personally the gleam in your eye. And you're going to tell me in the dressing room, in the Omni next Sunday, when you sit there all in a circle, looking at each other, lacing your boots up, boy, if I was a betting man, I bet you could hear a pin drop in the place.
You know, JJ, that was put so eloquently. But you know, you think about the last time in the Omni, they're going to get Tully and Arn and put them in a cage, and we're going to take their face, and we're going to grind it up, and we're going to beat them up, and we're going to end their careers. But oh no, it was Lex Luger that was carried out. It was Ole Anderson that got the Gordon Buster and was left laying. And it was the Horsemen that walked down the aisle, not carried down the aisle or run down the aisle with your tail between your legs. Now, gentlemen, if you think Dusty Rhodes is going to make that much difference, our names are already on the contract, and we'll be there an extra hour early just to get loose.
They tell me Magnum TA is going to be there, and I've got one little message for him. Magnum, don't mess with me. Not in the mood that I'm in.
David Crockett, the 15,000 people that filled up that Omni last time came from 200 or 300 miles around to think they were going to get satisfied. They sat there and they chewed their nails into the quick, thinking they were finally, because Ole said so, because Luger said so, that they were going to take our head and shove it through that cage just like much. But we threw them a curveball. Because when it was all said and done, Dusty Rhodes, as you looked down that hallway and you saw the horrification going down, a flashback, a video of time went through your mind, because you, at one time, Rhodes, were in that precarious position. Now, Ole, I'm sure you left home. Luger, they carried you home. And when the people of that Omni went to their cars scratching their heads, they wondered one thing: could any combination possibly manifest herself to finally shut up the Horsemen? So they went and they got the big daddy of them all, Dusty Rhodes. Nobody knows more about the Horsemen than you. Ole Anderson, they said you're long on guts. You are long on guts. And Luger, you're the rising star. But as you stand out here and you tell Ric Flair and you tell us that we didn't get the job done, just keep in mind, if you got a big rock and you want to chip that rock down to size, you start picking at the bottom and you work your way up, and pretty soon what you have is just a pile of stones. What I'm trying to say to you, figuratively, is we're in this thing for the money and the people are in it for the gore. If you're there to satisfy them, just forget about it, because we're your opponents, and my friend, we're the baddest of them all.
They say the
Okay. Buddy, this is so good. These interviews to me are the best of all these segments that we do. The three of you guys are talking with a common message, and just how good is JJ at the beginning when he's just painting that picture of that? He really planted those seeds of distrust, didn't he?
It was the ultimate shit disturb. I don't remember that, but God almighty, if you're Dusty and you're going down the aisle with Ole Anderson for the first time in his long career, how strong is that?
Man.
I mean, and with JJ stirring it up like that, it had to make Dusty go, what am I getting into here? There's probably a reason I haven't been partners with Ole all these years.
It was intense. It was believable. From the production where the camera zoomed into his face, it was magic. That was probably one of the best J.J. Dillon promos you'll ever see.
And he's
without a doubt.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
I say it all the time. He was as much a horseman as anybody. That just proved it. Good
So
Lord.
good. All three of you guys that was just money.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.